Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to go into the fourth installment here of the niche features of the app. So in this episode I want to go over some agendas, and there's 4 of them I want to go over. Minister of Peace, Minister of Sciences, Prophecy of Ixth, and Core Mining. If we go over to our agenda deck and click Owned, over here we got 2 of the agendas, both of the minister agendas, and the first one we're going to look at is Minister of Peace. So, Minister of Peace was an elect player, and we're playing in this tab, we're the Federation of Soul. So we have Minister of Peace, and what it says is after a player activates a system that contains one or more of a different player's units, the owner of this card may discard this card, immediately end the active player's turn. So playing agendas is a little different than playing action cards. And the biggest difference is that agendas cannot be sabotaged. So you have a lot of freedom in that you don't have to worry about that. The only exception that I think would be if the Cha Kingdom is in the game. They have a particular card that I think can cancel any card that's played, including agendas. But we haven't implemented that faction yet, so no worries there. So how does Minister of Peace work? Well, currently it's not our turn, it's Bob's turn. And so we're going to have Bob activate Charlie's system, right? Because if you notice the wording of the card, it doesn't have to be our system. It can be any other player's system, right? So perhaps, we struck a deal with Charlie that if Bob activates his system, we'll help him out and play Minister of Peace. Now, it has to be a system that has your units, right? So let's go over to Bob's tab here. And, even though Bob isn't close to Charlie and can't get ships into his system, that's not what the card is saying, because Bob is still free to activate one of Charlie's systems. So suppose Bob activates this system here. So let's do that. And we're going to go to the Resolve and Ability timing window. And Bob will pass, and it'll come back to Alice. And so now, if we wish, we can play the Minister of Peace card during this timing window here. So let's do that. And then the moment we do this, we're going to end Bob's turn. There we go. Alice played Minister of Peace. The active player's turn has immediately ended. And in fact, it's our turn now. And you'll notice that the Minister of Peace is no longer in our hand. We're just down to one of our agendas here, the Minister of Sciences. And that's the card we're going to look at next. So, Minister of Sciences was, again, a player election. And it says, when the owner of this card resolves the primary or secondary ability of the technology strategy card, he does not need to spend resources to research technology. And this is a permanent card, right? You don't lose it after you research one technology. This law is going to stay with you forever. So currently we have the technology card, so let's go ahead and activate it. And let's pick 2 technologies to research, because if we only pick one, we don't have to spend any resources. So let's research, let's go ahead and research gravity drive, and let's research advanced carrier. So normally now, we'd have to go and spend a total of 6 resources here. So we might think that we have to pay, we can do 4 with Jord, 1 with this planet, and 1 with this planet. So again here, if we're playing over the table, it's really easy to just miss this and forget that you have this card that allows you to just skip this process of having to pay. So if we go ahead and do that, we actually get a nice warning here that we're spending resources when you're not required to. See Minister of Sciences. So the game could let us spend resources, but it's giving us the warning here, right? And if we forget, like, okay, what is Minister of Sciences? We just go back to our agenda, the ones we own, and we see that indeed we don't have to pay resources. So it's a nice card, but it's even nicer that we're reminded that we don't have to pay. So we can reset that, and we can go back to our technologies and reselect them. And now this time we're not going to pay anything. And yeah, we get the confirm message, and checking our technologies, there's gravity drive, and there's our advanced carrier. So yeah, even hovering over our carriers now, they've been upgraded, just using the image there, right? So this is another example of how the app really comes to the rescue here when you have all this stuff in your face and you're trying to remember how to optimize everything, right? You're reminded, don't spend resources here. Okay, so that's the Minister cards, Minister of Peace and Minister of Sciences. We're gonna go ahead and, I think, pass on these. Yeah, we're gonna pass here. I'm gonna pass here, and we're gonna end our turn. And now we're gonna go ahead and use Warfare from Charlie, and we'll just quickly take that command token off the board and redistribute the command tokens here. All right. So this brings us to the next agenda I wanted to go over, and it's core mining. So core mining, if you click your own agendas, it doesn't show up here, even though it does belong to something specific, but it doesn't belong to a player, it actually belongs to a planet. And since the planet, when I was doing this off screen, the planet that was voted to receive core mining was Mir, and Alice owns Mir, the card will actually be attached to her player card. So if you go to, so not her player card, it's her planet card. So if you go to the planet card here, you'll see a little agenda card attached to Mir. And if we zoom in on that, yeah, we'll see it's core mining. So this card gets exchanged from player to player as people take the planet for themselves. And core mining, what it does is, it says attach this card to the elected planets card, which is Mir in this case. Then destroy 1 infantry on the planet. So when this card was elected, we lost an infantry on Mir, but then the resource value of this planet has now been permanently increased from 0 to 2. So when we go to build units here, because we're doing the warfare secondary, we click the space dock, we click build units. Now, let's try to build with Mir, right? So normally exhausting Mir would be worth 0 resources. So let's commit that resource. And now let's build 2 infantry, right? And let's see what it says. So remember, 2 infantry only costs 1 resource. So if we click confirm, now we're overspending by 1 resource. So instead, what we'll do is build 2 more. So that's 2 resources for 4 infantry. And we'll confirm that. All right. So that's core mining. And for the last agenda here to go over for this video, it's going to be Prophecy of Ixth. And we go over to Bob's tab for that. So what is Prophecy of Ixth? Prophecy of Ixth was an elect player card that Bob won. And it says that the owner of this card applies +1 to the result of his fighter's combat rolls. When the owner of this card uses production, he discards this card unless he produces 2 or more fighters. So Warfare Secondary is a form of production. Now, if you pass on Warfare Secondary, you won't lose the card because technically you're not utilizing production. But if we click our space dock and we go to build units, and let's say, I think we have Sarwin tools. Let me just check here. Yeah, we do. So we go to build, and let's say we know we have Sarwin tools, so we don't spend any resources, and we just build 2 infantry. If we go to confirm, once again we get this friendly warning that we hold the Prophecy of Ixth, and we're not producing 2 fighters, at least. Right? So if we confirm this, you're going to have to remove the Prophecy of Ixth from your laws. So again here, a very nice user-friendly reminder system. And this is really one of the other main features of the app that I've tried to emphasize in a few videos. Because Twilight Imperium is just such a massive game, like I really can't think of any other board game that compares to it in terms of like how many rules there are, how many components to the game there are. Yeah, I just remember playing it for the first time, and even the second, third, fourth time, and just feeling so overwhelmed and constantly having to get people to remind me, like, how do I do this? When can I do this? So creating the app here was, in part, I wish I could go in a time machine and give it to past me, because it would help me learn the game a little, with all the reminders. But I mean, at the same time, I think everyone should play the game over the board first. It's the unique experience. But there comes a point, even when you get really good at the game, how hard it can still be to remember everything. Whenever I play with my brothers, we always joke at the start of the game that it's going to be the first untainted game, because we're going to try our best to follow all the rules, but we always end up failing, like at the end of turn 1. Someone finds out, like, oh, we already screwed up. So hopefully with the app, the only thing you'll be screwing up is your own strategy, and you won't be breaking any rules of the game. That would be ideal. Yeah. So that's 4 agendas. And currently, as of this video, I believe we have 18 agendas implemented, which means we still have 32 to go. But they're coming along nicely. Most of them, probably around 8 to 10 of them are passive, and the ones I'm just showing you here, right, they're permanent, and you got to use them. But yeah, the agendas are coming along, and there'll probably be another video about them when we implement more, some of the more intricate ones. For the next video, I'm probably going to look at some more faction abilities, or faction technologies rather. Yeah, not faction abilities, faction technologies, specific ones, because we've already seen the vanilla technologies. Like if we go back to the main screen, right, we went over the technologies that are available to everyone. But I think I want to go over some technologies unique to factions. Like here, we're looking at the Emeritus of Hakan, and here we have Quantum Data Hub node, which is unique, and also production biomes. But then again, I might just save that for the faction spotlight videos. So we'll see. But that's the end of this video. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to the next one.